The massacre there is just the latest mass shooting in which the suspect's parents are coming under intense scrutiny. After last year's shooting at Oxford High School in Michigan, prosecutors charged the suspected gunman's parents with involuntary manslaughter. Investigators say they ignored red flags and bought their son a gun for Christmas. In Parkland, Florida, it later emerged that the suspect's deceased mother had allowed him to buy a high-powered rifle, even though his mental health counselors had opposed the idea. He pleaded guilty to murdering 14 students and 3 staff members at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in 2018. And in Newtown, Connecticut, police say the shooter's mother had an arsenal of guns at home. He shot and killed his own mom before going on the rampage at Sandy Hook Elementary School nearly 10 years ago, slaughtering 20 children and 6 educators. David Henderson now, former prosecutor, civil rights attorney, and a CNBC contributor. David, police tried to take weapons away from this shooter. The father reportedly pushed to get them back and then gave him access to guns. Does the dad have legal liability here?
You know, Shep, that depends on who you ask. And it basically comes down to this. If a prosecutor wants to charge you, they're going to. And we've seen that happen in places like Michigan. What makes these cases complicated is the fact that, as you just reported, these parents didn't do anything that was illegal. The laws allowed for them to have access to these weapons the way that they did. So as much as I disagree with some of our gun laws, it's hard to justify this prosecution.
Last December, we spoke here about the parents in Michigan who were charged with manslaughter for allowing their son to get a weapon. Potential similarities with this case, or completely different because the shooter was an adult at the time?
You know, Shep, it's a bit of both. I would say there are potential similarities because of the way this happened. And ultimately what we're asking is, when hindsight proves to be 2020, can you hold someone liable for not doing more, even when they didn't do anything illegal? So in that sense, I would say there are a lot of similarities here. And then also, when we start talking about teenagers getting access to guns, having been a children's lawyer and a special crimes prosecutor, if you got a gun in the house, the teenager knows how to get access to it, whether it's locked up or not.
Yeah, you know, charging parents is still fairly rare. Do you see that trend growing?
I think the trend is going to grow because I think we're going to unfortunately continue to see these types of tragedies. And when these types of tragedies happen, prosecutors are going to want to hold someone accountable. Again, the difficulty is, if you look back, Shep, Nicholas Cruz in Parkland legally owned that firearm. Adam Lanza had access to a firearm that his mom legally owned. And in the case of Ethan Crumley, it wasn't just his parents who should have been able to foresee it. It was also the school officials who had as much knowledge as the parents did. My experience, having worked with kids in school with crimes, those teachers will often tell you, yeah, what he said was bad and we should have had a heads up about it. We got 50 kids in the school who said similar things but didn't shoot anybody.
David Henderson, thanks very much.